We were 20 when we started dating.
When did you guys meet?
During the pandemic, and we both on Bumble at the same time.
I saw her profile and I was like, way out of my league. One of the questions we get asked is, who's the man in the relationship? And then she comes in and she's like,
The point is that we don't want a man. Our grandparents are the most supportive. We have taken this trip being so in love, spending hours staring into each other's eyes, but we're like just friends.
you were saying that, huh? I never said that.
Fashion is something, it's very personal.
Someone literally said, oh, but she's wearing a cap. Means if I wear a cap, means I'm a man. She definitely has more guys hitting on her. I have more girls hitting on me.
When a guy's hitting on you, what happens?
They always ask.
India doesn't have it legalized yet to have same-sex marriages.
The marriage part does not get legalized. The saddest part for me would be that I don't get all her club memberships, which all the straight hetero couples get.
What is it that you really want to tell the world about you guys?
It is real. It's not a phase.
Somebody from our community, when this guy came out, he had to move countries.
It's so much more complicated when religion is
Yeah.
sort of in it.
Gender, religion, politics. You have your belief, the other person has their belief. Everybody can coexist.
Yeah.
We don't know enough, and then it's our responsibility to know more, and then I have the responsibility of also sharing it with the world.
She was love bomber to the max.
So what is the difference between dating a guy and dating a girl?
There is such a big difference.
First of all, thank you so much for being on Alina Dissects, both of you. I'm very excited to be speaking to both of you all.
Thanks for having us.
Excited to be here.
I was speaking to you guys earlier that I've done a lot of serious podcasts with like serious people and like big businessmen and stuff like that. So I want today's to be a little bit more chill and more fun and more casual while we talk about important things and things that matter. That is my agenda for today's chat.
Sounds perfect.
Okay, so the first thing that I want to ask is also the beginning of the journey. A lot of people I don't do this with because it's out there. I feel like your story is not out there, which is why I want to ask you that how did all of this began? When did you guys meet?
So this was during the pandemic in 2020, and obviously we were in the lockdown at home. So we both on Bumble at the same time, and that's how we matched on Bumble. But little bit backstory, I knew of her existence because she's a DJ. She's done a lot of gigs. I've seen her name on a lot of flyers. I've stalked her Instagram and her entire family. So I very much knew of her before we matched. And when we matched, when she texted me on Bumble, I thought it was a fake account. So I did not take her seriously initially because I was like, she's too popular to be doing this.
Really? Well, are you too popular to be doing
No,
Bumble?
no, not at all. She praises me a bit much, but I was in fact surprised when she matched me because I saw her profile and I was like, way out of my league. No chance she's gonna match me. I kept looking at Bumble, like waiting to see if we did match. And then when it finally happened, I was like, no way. Like the smile I had on my face, I still remember
Really?
it. The picture of her that I saw first, it's still my favorite picture till date. And yeah, and then she texted me and we took it to Instagram. We spoke a lot over there. And yeah, that's, I mean.
At what
Yeah.
point did you guys start dating each other?
This was a while after we matched on Bumble, but one of the first few times that we met, we just met for a drive, and I had to lie at home to get out. So we met for a drive, and the first time we met just felt like we'd known each other for our entire lives. The way we've opened up to each other, been so vulnerable, and been able to talk for hours and hours straight. And the first time we're meeting someone is very rare for me, especially because I'm a very guarded person, and it was just so free flowing that I just felt like it was headed in a really good direction. But luckily, fortunately, we started off with a very strong friendship way before we started dating.
More from her side friendship. I was like waiting for her to let us take it further.
Okay, so who initiated it?
Obviously me.
Why obviously?
Because she said she's guarded.
Okay.
It was also, I think, her first time properly being with a girl.
Okay.
I already had a girlfriend before her. And obviously when I saw her, I was like, that's my next girlfriend. So I was like, I have to give it my all.
Okay. Were you like apprehensive when you met her?
Yeah, I was, because at that point, I was just about graduating and all of that. So I just felt like so unsure of what my future is going to be like. So I just didn't want to get into anything serious in any kind of commitment, not just when it came to like a relationship, but anything, like even doing a master's course after. Like I was like, I don't know what to commit to. The world is so uncertain right now. There's a pandemic. There was just so much happening that I just did not feel secure enough to get into something this serious. But luckily the friendship grew, and I was also not here a lot during the pandemic because I was staying in Goa for a really long time. So also not seeing her physically that much, so it was just virtually. And then finally, like just before we started dating, we just decided to take a trip, and we just took a
Okay.
trip. And I'd just come back from Goa, so I was like, you have to experience it with me and all. And while just being in this friendship situation, we have taken this trip while we've also been like this very weird friendship where we're also telling each other we love each other, being so in love, spending hours staring into each other's eyes, but we're like just friends. And then we
Hey,
go on
only
this
you were
trip.
saying that, huh? I never said that. And we
She was
told
very
each other
clear from the
Yeah, and
beginning.
we told each other we liked each other
As in-
before the
yeah,
trip.
yeah,
huh?
before
Hello?
the trip also.
Okay.
I didn't know
We
this
liked each
friendship
other,
thing
yeah.
was in your
We
mind.
liked each other before the trip, but on the
Okay.
trip we were like obsessed with each other. We took a trip for 5 days. He extended me to 10 days
Oh,
over
nice.
there. So we just could not get enough of each other. And then that was what gave me the reassurance that this is meant to be. That was my biggest green flag, my green light to go ahead with this. And I was still quite skeptical because I was like, it's still so uncertain. I had a lot of stuff going on personally, so I was like, I don't know if I want to do this. But some friend of mine really pushed me to do it, and I feel like that was the best decision of my life. I don't regret it at all.
How lovely. Tell me that what was that part about her that you liked the most, or about both of you, about each other, that you said that this is what it is, and like that moment where it switched that this is forever?
I think from the beginning, like when we first met, we were like, you know, when you like someone, you're not going to be your weirdest self. You're going to be a little proper
Yes.
and
A
all.
little
You don't want them
nervous.
to think
Yeah.
you're weird so fast, right? A little
So
did I know
bad.
she was just as weird as me, but we were very, like, I would say a little formal with each other. And then on that trip, we, like, all hell was got loose. And we were so weird around each other. Like she said, that's, I think, where the friendship bit came in more. And when I saw how similar we are in our humor and the things we watch and the things we like, that was where I saw more of a future with her, because
Okay.
we had that friendship as well. So that's like very important to me, banter and like being your weirdest self around each other. So.
Oh,
And apart from the weirdness, because she wanted to date me so badly, she was fully sucking up to me and doing everything I wanted her to do, going everywhere I wanted to go,
Sweet.
eating whatever I wanted her to eat, all of that, despite not having the widest palate. So I just felt like that I enjoyed the sucking up.
I set the bar high for myself only after that. It's all downhill from there.
I'm sure not, because it's been so wonderful since then. How long has it been though?
Almost 5 years now.
5 years? You guys must be like really, really young into this.
Yeah, we were
right?
20 when we started dating, and now I feel like I'm in my mid 20s. So the age is hitting, the number of years is also hitting.
Okay, tell me, who was the first person that you told about, both of you?
I think I told a lot of friends at that point. Unfortunately, I'm not friends with a lot of people that I did tell now. But yeah, I did tell a lot of friends because I was very happy to brag about being with her, because I
Okay.
thought she's like the coolest person I've ever met.
That's the
So-
only reason.
Also because I liked her, and it was my first time being with a girl, and it was also like way cooler than being with a guy, in my opinion. So that's why I was very happy to brag about it to
Love
everyone.
the anecdote. Tell me the difference, because we wouldn't know. So tell us, what is the difference between dating a guy and dating a girl?
There is such a big difference. For example, I feel like even us taking a trip on a whim, we had hung out a lot, but not enough for us to just decide to take a trip together. And I feel that safety is definitely there if you're meeting someone off a dating app, to just take a trip with them. If it was a guy,
Yeah,
it's a
you-
little like, unsafe, I
Yeah.
would say, for a girl to do that. So safety, I think, is number
100%.
one with each other. Then I feel being women also, and not just being women, but we as individuals are very empathetic and stuff. So I think that plays a big role in how our relationship works, because we understand each other so well that, at least in my previous relationships, I didn't have that. So that would be my main difference.
I feel like there's also a lot more understanding when it comes to things that like life experiences that women have in general, like
Yeah.
whether it's like your health with your periods, things like that, or it's like just how you want to go about your day. Like, you know how like women just like to take their time in doing things, want to be like more particular about some things, have fun. Like it's very different with a guy. I feel like it's like you don't fully always understand a guy's brain, and I feel like it is a lot easier for us to share the same brain, which we do by now. 5 years later, we're literally the same brain. So that, and I feel like also getting away with things was a lot easier. Like while like my previous relationships, when I was with a guy, could never like tell my parents easily, or I had to make some excuse or the other or something. But here, I could introduce her as my friend and then go on this trip with this girl. So it was just like easier to just get away with things, have sleepovers, or just like sleepovers with the girl.
Yeah, main thing.
Yeah,
For
so it was
sure.
like the lying part was a lot more easier. It was fun this time.
Okay, before we get to that phase, a question I have that is for like other people that are watching this episode is that so many people are not able to tell what they feel and how they feel, especially when they are so young. Okay, how did you come to know what you feel like, whether you like a guy, whether you like a girl, or like how is the feeling different, and how do you know that this is what you have to go for and this is what is meant for you?
I feel like mine was a little obvious
Okay.
because every guy that I dated, it was so short lived. I'd find something or the other that would give me the ick. And it was the most basic and random thing that, like, all my friends were like, how are you suddenly realizing you don't like this about him, which is such a basic thing. So I didn't pick up on those signs initially.
Okay.
And now after dating her, it's like nothing gave me the ick about her. I'm
Yet.
able to be in such a long-term relationship with her, whereas I couldn't commit back then, and I didn't see the signs. But now when I look back, I'm like, how fast I got bored of the relationship, how I like the amount I care in our relationship versus over there is so much, like there's a huge difference. So I think those were my main signs of sort of when, like, I think I realized more after I started dating
Okay.
women. Initially, I thought I just had this fear of commitment and I couldn't be bound to one person and stuff. But now looking back, I can tell the signs that sort of maybe if I picked up on that earlier, I would have realized sooner.
Is that though the first thing you see is like the attraction? Maybe you're not attracted to men, or is like what you're saying the second step to it?
I think at the time I was attracted to them because I wouldn't be able to be in that relationship if I wasn't. But I only realized how much more attracted to women I was after I got
Okay.
with a girl, and now I can't ever see myself with a guy. So
Okay.
I feel like once you're with the girl, then you can't really go back. So there was attraction at that time, yes, but now I can't relate to that.
Okay, I assume that like when you come to know, you know that oh, you're not attracted to men, and like you are only attracted to women. That's how you know.
I mean, it can be either. Like,
Okay.
if you're bi, then you could still like both. But for me, it was pretty clear.
Clear.
After I'd been with a woman, I couldn't see myself being with a guy.
Okay.
For me, it was very different because I was in a girls' school. So by the time I got out of school, I was just so irritated with girls. I was like, even though when I was in school, I always had that inkling that I would, find women attractive. My biggest celebrity crushes were all almost women, and I always liked the idea of being with a woman. I always joked about it, I always found it fascinating, but at the same time, I was so done with women and their drama because I was in school, and also I was 15, so I didn't have a fully developed brain at the point. So I just was like, okay, fine. Then I was like just meeting guys in college, really fascinated with, oh my god, so many different people from so many different places, and it was just like in college I was just like lost, figuring myself out, losing and reinventing my identity every couple of years. So when it came to like romantic relationships, if I look back at any of those, none of them were really even romantic. It was just like just doing it for the sake of it because it's fun or whatever. But now that I've had this and that it's been with a woman, even I cannot think of ever going back to ever being with a guy again. And also in terms of like just how far I can't even imagine going with anyone else other than her at this point because of what we've like had all these years and how far we've come. I feel like I've grown up with her. We've both built our lives together, and it's like your 20s where you actually like, they're your most formative years. Your teens are your time to do everything and mess up and all, but your 20s are the time you get your like identity together, you find yourself. So I feel like the way I've been able to find myself and have so much support from the person I'm with. I would not have gotten that from anybody else. So I cannot even imagine myself being with anyone else. And I've always been someone whose attraction is also coupled with the kind of love you feel. Like my
Yeah.
attraction is a lot to do with the romantic aspect of it. So obviously having that, the fact that it's there both ways has also made me so much more into this than I would be with anybody else.
Yeah, like she said, when she was in college, she was sort of figuring herself out. She hadn't gotten there yet. Same with me. And then I feel like us being together and still being able to find ourselves and not being so, some relationships you don't actually grow individually, right? But I feel like we've gotten to have that, and we've both like sort of come into the best version of ourselves while being together, which in itself speaks volumes, I think, about.
And before her, like, I have been with people who used to hold me back a lot. Like in college, I used to do like a lot of performances and stuff. So they used to not be happy with the attention I used to get. They used to not support me that much. They used to make fun of me for a lot of things. So like I have seen my share of the guys that I was dating bringing me back, pulling me back, holding me down, and I've not once experienced that from her end. So that's why I would say like the support is also a huge deal over here.
Of course. Now that's between y'all. What about like support from outside? The first time that you told somebody about it, what was that like? And who did you tell?
I told my sister and my two cousins that I'm very tight with. And I was so nervous. Like, I know how chill they are, but still, I built it up so much in my head. And the anticipation was what got to me a lot. And I couldn't tell them face to face. So I wrote down like an entire message and I sent it to them. I was like, come to my room after you read it. And they came in and they were just laughing and they were like, this is like, you scared us. We thought like something was wrong and this is so chill. Like, why were you so nervous? We're happy for you. It's not a big deal. You never have to worry about us ever judging you and stuff. Like,
Amazing.
we all support you. And it was the best feeling. And after that, stuff got easy. I think the next person I told was my mom.
Okay. What was her reaction?
And my friends as well. Same thing I did. I went to the bathroom. I sent her a message. I was like, you tell me when you're done reading it, then I'll come out. And she just gave me the biggest hug. And she was like, this is something that I would never have an issue with. Like, I just want you to be happy in life. I was also going through a lot of personal stuff at the time. So she was like, this is like not even a concern for me. I just want you to be okay and you to be happy. So I got, like, I'm so blessed. I've gotten the best reaction and support from everyone in my life.
That's true.
Yeah,
That's
from the
so
second I
nice.
came
Like I
out.
wouldn't imagine because I would be like somebody somewhere in the family. It could be difficult. And also I've met so many people where they don't even talk about it like you guys do because they're so afraid of what everybody will say and they know it's going to go down badly
No,
for
yeah,
them.
I mean, we really empathize with those
Yeah.
people
Yeah.
because it is hard. I mean, I felt that anticipation so much. I'm like, we're lucky to have gotten the support that we've gotten, but I can only imagine like what it's like for people with families that aren't accepting. So that I really count my blessings when it comes to that.
What was your experience like?
Yeah, like I agree with what she just said. So we are very, very aware of the privilege we have of being in the metropolitan city with educated families that are understanding and supportive about this. And for me, my journey was a little different from hers. And what I didn't know what the right way would be to tell my family, how they take it. With my friends, it was very casual. Like I just told them that I matched with her and it's going great, this and that. And they just always had an inkling because I've always joked about it, said that, oh, I'm going to date a girl, and the person I'm going to end up with is a girl, and all of that stuff. So they always were like, okay, fine. So the younger generation, our age, the people were very, very calm about it, no follow-up questions whatsoever. But for family, I just, played a little smart, introduced her as my friend first. And my parents met her as my friend because I was like, I'm going to go out with her, so you should meet this new friend of mine whom I'm going to go out with. So like that's how they met her. And they liked her from the get-go. So that luckily worked for me because if she was annoying, then that would have been very difficult. So luckily she was a good person. So yeah, my parents liked her from the get-go. And my mom, I wrote her a letter telling her about this. And I just wrote it at night and texted her saying that when you wake up, I've left a letter for you over here, go read it. She woke up immediately and read it like super early in the morning, and she was very happy reading it because she liked her. So that really helped. And I didn't have like a massive coming out story because for me, I felt the need to only tell my family because I was in a serious thing. Otherwise, I was not feeling the need to tell people because I was not very much into that space. I didn't know too much about the queer community also at that time.
Like you were exploring. So
Yeah, and I was just exploring, so that also. But then when it came to my father and a lot of people, like the older generation, my family, it did take some time for them to wrap their heads around it. I told them also after being with her for a few months so that they also saw her a little bit, knew of her as my friend, liked her a little bit. Also, they just gave them some time to, did not throw them into the deep end of, oh no, you have to accept her right now. Like gave them some time to come around. Like my dad took a lot of time to come around, but I think with time, them seeing how I've flourished in this relationship, seeing how she's been such a great support, and seeing that I'm also doing well in life apart from her, and her being there with me through it all, and it's been so long now, she's basically part of the family at this point.
Yeah.
She's there for every family thing at this point.
And
Of course, it's been a while.
Yeah, and weirdly, our grandparents were
Yeah.
super chill about
No
it.
way. Are you
Our
Super
serious?
grandparents are
about
the
it.
most supportive
Yeah.
at this point. Yeah.
Like my grandparents love her.
Same for mine.
I love her grandparents, so I
Okay.
hope they love me as much as I do.
Of
But
course.
yeah, but that is one thing we did not expect because
Yeah.
of the generational gap.
I was gonna say whose support was like the most
Surprising,
shocking to
definitely them. Definitely them.
For sure.
And they're just so loving. Like they don't have any conditional love towards us. Like they're just so loving towards each, like her grandparents with me and mine with her, just so loving, so happy to see the other. It's just very sweet and something we did not even think of ever.
Oh my God, that's such a lovely thing. Yeah, I wouldn't expect it. But tell me, what did your dad tell you? What did you have to tell him to make him understand a little bit better?
I'm also that person who is very stubborn. So I was like, this is it, take it or leave it. So
Okay.
I was like, I am not changing anything. This is how I am. This is what I've chosen. Like, this is the person I want to be with. So if you have a problem with it, there's nothing that's going to change. So you have to change. And I've always been that with any person or anything where I feel like I'm not in the wrong, because I know I'm not in the wrong with this. So that was how I was. I was like, take it or leave. He took his time. He took a year to meet her after that. But he always did ask about her, always saw where my head's at and all of that. Took him a year, but now it's great. Like now they're fine.
I'm sure. Tell me that, so now this is when you told your family. What happens when, like, it's outside, for example, at your workplaces? And also take me through what you guys do so our audiences know about that.
So I work in marketing. I've worked at agencies before, but for the past 2.5, 3 years, I've been working in beauty. So mainly beauty marketing. So for me, working with the queer space is very, very common because there are so many people from the queer community who are beauty creators, whom I work with a lot. So that's how I've also been able to meet a lot of people from the community. So that's been great. And also, like, when it comes to telling people from work, I don't straight up go and tell them, oh, I'm dating a girl. But if they ever ask me, I've never once lied or said or deflected the topic and all that. But unfortunately, because I'm more feminine presenting, people just assume that I'm not
That
queer,
you're
and they
straight.
always ask me, are you in a relationship, are you single? And I'm like, no, I'm not, I am with someone. So then they're like, oh, so what does your boyfriend do? And I'm like, I didn't say I have a boyfriend. So that is something that does happen quite often to me, and I have to remind people, I have to tell people. Now, it's not something they assume easily, which is a little difficult sometimes because you don't know how open-minded the other person would be, how they'd react, especially when you want to just maintain a professional relationship with them. But so far, people have been supportive. Not one person in a workplace has made fun of me, at least to my face. God knows what they're saying about me behind my back, but I don't care. But to my face, everyone's been very open. Also, nowadays, a lot of people they're learning about these things. Since it's also beauty and marketing and all, this is a huge part of the community. All of these companies market too. So they cannot say anything wrong even if they think it. They can't say anything wrong anyway to anyone. So people have been supportive that way. People have been very understanding. But yeah, like the assumption does bug me a lot.
I can understand. But like whereas a society is so conditioned that you
Yeah.
can't even blame the other person for it. For example, when I started out, I had not revealed that I was running this page on Instagram called Social Media Dissect. Every single DM that I got said, "Hi,
Hi, sir."
sir, hello, how," like all of them were like, nobody even assumed that it could be a woman running
Yeah.
this thing. Everybody was just, "Hi, sir, hey, what's up, guys?" And like, I'm just like, could you assume it could be a, so I had a lot of fun telling my community that it is me, and them being quite surprised that it's a woman. Like, imagine. So, I can understand that people just wouldn't even think about it. And the first time that I asked my gay friend, who I didn't know was gay at that time, and he mentioned it also, I just repeated it so that I'm sure about it. So I said, "Oh, like your boyfriend." So then he's like, "Yeah," he's like, whatever, just to be sure, because in the first time it can be a little bit, oh, you have to be correct, then you have to think about what you're saying, but that's not something that comes naturally to
Yeah.
Which is fair
everybody.
because that's sort
Yeah.
of the norm,
Yeah.
I guess.
I
So
don't blame
it's-
them as much, but I'm also like, one day the world will change. One day
Yeah.
they'll be like, "Oh, are you dating a girl or a guy?" That should be the next
That should
follow-up
be the-
question instead of what does your boyfriend do?
I should also be careful of it and maybe ask them. And then the reaction I will get will also be funny only. They will
Yeah.
be like, "Why are you asking me this?" That's how it is.
I think the tell is when someone says my partner, that is when you ask. I feel like that is the biggest tell, because
Ah.
a lot of people do normally say my boyfriend or girlfriend if they are starting to talk
Got
about
it.
their partner. But if someone else is asking them about their partner, if this person says partner
Hmm.
or like something like that on those lines, which is gender, not
Neutral.
one of the genders, so then yeah, gender neutral, right? So then that is what should be most people's tell, to ask what the gender is of the other person and how to address them, what pronouns they can use, things like that.
Got it. Extended family, things like that, there must be somebody who'd be like against it.
not for me.
Not
and I
for you
have a
guys?
huge family. Like
And
I've
all of them were accepting of
all.
it.
I have in total 14 first cousins just
Wow.
from my dad's side. So my dad's parents, basically, there were 5 of them. Like the kids, my dad has 4 siblings. I have 3 siblings.
Okay.
And 10 first cousins. So, and not one of them has had any issue with it, has even shown any signs of being uncomfortable. She literally, I think, in the first 6 months of us dating, came for one of my cousin's weddings.
Okay.
And met the entire family, like
Okay.
extended, like people that aren't
wow.
even related to me, but related to the people in my family. And ever since then, I think she's come on around 4 family trips that have been weddings, and met literally anyone and everyone that could possibly be connected to me in some way or the other, and no one has ever given me a bad reaction.
Wow. That's like lucky.
I know.
Yeah, touch wood.
Yeah.
Both of you have had the same experiences.
Pretty much. I feel like people did ask follow-up questions, but more to my family, my parents and stuff. But other than that, there's not been any resistance of any form from anyone. And again, because we are privileged to be in an educated society in a metropolitan city, it is not the case everywhere in India. And hopefully the scene should change.
Yeah, which is
Yeah.
why I really wanted to have this
Yeah.
conversation also, because like I said, we don't know enough, and then it's our responsibility to know more, and then I have the responsibility of also sharing it with the world and telling the world, because who else will, right?
Yeah.
There's not so many important people in position of power are telling these stories.
Yeah.
Or when people come here also, I'm telling them that, I may not agree to everything that you're saying, but I'm very open to like listening to it, because people come here with all different kinds of thoughts, all different kinds of thing, but I feel like you have to be open-minded to at least listen that there is something like this that is happening and that exists, and then you are you just be more aware, and that gives you better results as a human being if you just expand your knowledge and know more things, and you are, like I said, more aware that there is things that you may not know about and you may not have heard about, and we as a society openly don't talk about it also, which is a problem. Everything should be spoken and discussed and communicated.
Yeah, these are like small wins for the community. I think that over time will hopefully build up and have a bigger impact.
Yeah, but have you all seen a lot of change in the 5 years? Like from then to now, there must be like so much of a difference of accepting also, or was it like that from the beginning?
No, I think 100% there's been a lot of
Yeah.
progress. We've
I think overall also, right? In
Yeah.
our society also.
Yeah. I mean, slowly, but we're getting there. I think we've also been exposed to a lot more of the community
Right.
and all the Pride events that we attend. And they don't just happen during Pride Month.
Month.
Now they're happening through the year. You know, like we get to see drag shows and stuff, and it's amazing to be there. It's amazing to even be part of that community. And at these Pride events, again, it's not just people from the community, it's allies. There are straight couples there that are just
Okay.
allies that,
Okay.
you know, have come to
Support,
appreciate
yeah.
and support the community. So it's been amazing because we're not just seeing people from the community, we're seeing people come to support the community as well. So that just feels like a lot of progress too.
I think another important thing I want to bring up, unfortunately, I cannot remember the name of these people, but recently in West Bengal, in some really small village, 2 women got married, and the entire village was there at their wedding
Wow.
and supporting them. And this is, I just saw this on Instagram, so I cannot remember the place really well, but it was crazy to see that in such a rural place in India, and so many people, like it was actually like one concert, it looked like their entire villages come to support these 2 women getting married. It was so sweet, and it's crazy to think of that happening now, even though marriage is still not legalized for same gendered couples, but it has been a lot of progress. I wouldn't say in the 5 years that we've been together, but since 2018, since it got decriminalized, because before that I feel like being homosexual and all that was like a joke. Like a lot of people used to make jokes on it, have these derogatory terms and all, but once it got decriminalized, a lot of people were more open to it, more understanding. And I also felt like a wave of that hit me personally, because when that happened, the decriminalization, around the same time I was in college doing BMM, and we had a lot of film related projects. We had to make a lot of short films and stuff, and there was this one project where we had this like screening of everyone's short films on the same day, and more than 50% of the films were on this topic. And it's crazy, everyone's film, even if it was not on the topic, had an angle of it. Like I had done one suspense horror film, but it had an angle of a queer relationship in it. There was like so much like awareness, acceptance that I saw from the circle around me. Once you start seeing it from your closest periphery, it's when you start feeling more accepted, and you like care a little less about the further
Outside.
periphery, whether they care or not that much.
Right. But have there been any incidences or any stories you could say where these outside people maybe saw and their perception obviously wasn't the regular and you're in people who had? So like something strange that happened, or like if somebody spotted you guys, or if y'all were out or something like that. Like has that ever happened?
We've definitely faced that in many different ways, like these nasty comments that I don't even want to like say and put that out there into other people's minds or anything like that. But yeah, we have had that before. But I wouldn't say it's a thing that happens often. Like again, we are privileged to even stay in this city, and I think people are more aware, so we have that. And I mean, no one's really
Has there
had
been
the-
no like typical uncle, typical aunt?
no, for
like
sure. We get the
that,
stares
yeah.
here and there, for sure.
Who would have, like, maybe somebody came and spoke to you guys about it?
I
and
think
said,
the thing that I've heard the most, and maybe not in a bad way, has been like the line of, "This is just a phase."
Okay.
That is something that I've heard. And some people don't mean it in the wrong way. Like a couple friends of my mom, they've asked her, is this something she's serious about, or is this, just a temporary thing or an act of rebellion? Because I was very rebellious when I was younger. So I think probably that was it's more of a question that's come to me through that. But I do think a lot of people still think that it could be a phase, or wonder how serious we are about this,
But I
because
think
it's not
that-
that common yet.
I
for a
think
lot
they're
of
low-key
people.
hoping that it is a phase when they say that.
maybe
Like-
these
Maybe
are
or not,
guys
maybe.
who want to like be with you guys. Has
No,
that
that has
happened?
happened a
Yeah,
lot.
that's
Tell me
happened
about-
very often.
Tell me about that. When a guy is hitting on you, what happens?
So yeah, like they always ask if there's room for a third, and that makes me want to punch them.
Like, what do they come and say to you?
Like it's so disgusting. I don't even want to repeat.
No, and just for example, if so she definitely has more guys hitting on her. I have more girls hitting on me. Again, because
hate that.
she's more of a femme presenting queer and I'm more mask. But yeah, so if a guy comes up to her, for example, they're like, "Do you have a boyfriend?" She's like, "No, I actually have a girlfriend." And then, they always have something disgusting or weird to say. Like, for
Or they
example,
think there's still room for a boyfriend.
or like, oh, but I think I've been asked that where, wait, so are you completely against men or do you want to try, again or something like that? And I'm just like, no, like definitely not,
doesn't
and not
work
with
like
you
that.
for sure. So yeah, I mean, and especially them inserting themselves into our relationship, like trying to make
what does
that
that
happen.
mean?
Okay, I mean, I don't care. I'll just say it. So, like, recently, this one guy was like, "Oh, so do you all want to have a meat sandwich?" Calling us the bread, and obviously him the meat.
Ew,
Oh
right?
my
This is the kind of
God,
stuff
are
we
you
listen to, yeah.
serious?
And this is like the most PG-13 I could keep
Yeah.
it, even though it sounds disgusting. if
Oh
you
my God.
think
Oh my
about
God.
it.
And then what do you even react to such things?
I luckily don't even have to react because my face says what I'm feeling.
Yeah,
So I give
they
them the
see your
dirtiest
face
look,
only
and I'm
and-
happy being the bitchy one, the bad one. I don't care if you hate me. Like I will give them the dirtiest look, and I'll walk off. I don't care. She's still like nicer. Sometimes
Huh?
she
Not
not
with this
not for
stuff.
these things, but she's still nicer. So she will tell them off or walk away. I'll just make like the most
No,
disgusting
if they
face.
say something like
this
that,
not
I'll
so much.
literally
For
be
this
like-
not so much.
That's
yeah.
a bit much.
No, I would
This is
literally be like, you have
disgusting.
5 seconds to walk away before I hit you.
Yeah, she can
Like-
also be really scary.
Yeah, we know they should think before they speak, because who talks like this?
Yeah.
Tell me that at workplace has anything happened where because our workplaces have so many different kinds of people from all different walks of life, where they maybe don't know about this thing, or maybe some incident has happened where you had to educate somebody.
For me, not when it comes to me being in a relationship, but there was this one incident which really has left a mark in my journey. I got booked for a New Year's gig at a pretty well-known and established place. I'm not gonna obviously mention it, but I sent my press kit, which is basically for the flyers and stuff. So it has all my pictures, and they pick from that and make the creative and stuff. And I sent it, and I've luckily never been like faced this before, but they got back saying that we want to go ahead, but we would need pictures that are a little more revealing and more appealing to the man's eye. And I was just like,
you
are you being that serious? Like, I can't believe what I'm hearing. And the guy who was sort of the middleman, he was like, I'm shocked too that they're asking this, but like totally get it if you don't want to go ahead. And I was like, for sure, I'm not going
Obviously.
ahead with this. And so I backed out immediately. But for that thought to even come in the head, forget asking me,
Yeah.
is just so weird.
And that's for anybody. For
Exactly.
any girl, if they would have said
Exactly.
something
Are they
like
asking
that.
men to send pictures that are revealing? Like,
Definitely not.
Yeah, it's weird.
That's strange that they would say in like such a big setting also. It's
Exactly.
not something that'll fly away and pass on.
And you wouldn't guess the place. Like, it's a pretty classy
Oh
place.
my
You
God.
would not
Tell you off
expect.
camera.
Yeah. You would not expect it from a place
Unbelievable.
like that.
And it's crazy that this guy even said it on WhatsApp where there's like
Legal
Proof.
proof.
Yeah.
like how dumb.
Seriously. No shame.
But is that
clearly.
like the entertainment industry overall? They look at women like that, maybe.
It definitely plays a role. Like you can feel the inequality, I would say, because it is a male-dominated field. So I have faced the sort of consequences of being in that kind of industry. But overall, I wouldn't say I've faced that a lot in terms of I've had many other terrible experiences. But say when it comes to even traveling for a gig outside of Bombay, it's like as a woman you need to think
Yeah.
a lot before traveling alone to a
New
new
place.
city, especially when you've never worked with the people before, like just as a safety kind of thing. And yeah, I have been in situations that are unsafe in terms of the people that I was working with got like really wasted, very bad behavior, you know, just not the kind of people you want to work with. But when it comes to me being queer, I've never really faced any sort of backlash on that, I would say.
Okay. Online, has that ever happened? Because online you're exposed to so many random people and everybody has an opinion online.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like we get more love than we get hate.
Okay.
When it comes to the reels that we make are more funny.
Yeah.
They're more, we're sort of showing off about what it's like to be in a queer relationship, things that straight couples don't have. So, in fact, the people that are straight that are commenting are more like, this is what I wanted. Why am I attracted to men? That kind of stuff. And
I've
then
seen the
obviously there'll
comment
be
section.
the occasional here and there men that are insecure and bothered by the fact that we are not attracted to men.
Sing
I would say.
dishwasher, like that joke
Yeah.
died in 2016. Why are you still
Seriously.
sing that?
And we're in the 21st century. Like, what year are you living in?
No,
in
but I'll
certain
tell you
ways?
my experience. There was somebody from our community, and I feel like the Muslim community is even more averse to such things. And this person lived in Bombay, more of which I cannot reveal. But when they came out, when this guy came out, he had to move countries. Like he had to leave Bombay, he had to leave India, and he had to relocate. And I know this about a lot of other people who've had to leave the country because of the choice that they have made, because over here their life would have become like a living hell, because the kind of judgment, the kind of like pressure, the kind of questions that you get in this space. And I think any community over here is so not accepting that you would have to leave the entire country and go. And that's such a I was just like, why does he have to leave
Yeah,
everything
that's
and
up.
get up
Yeah.
and go? But like, even for his parents, because at that point you're in that conflict of, are you doing this for yourself, but you're putting people around you in a much more difficult situation. And that I empathize with, but I wish that was just accepting for everybody.
Yeah, I feel like it's so much more complicated when religion is
Yeah.
sort of in it, because anyway, it's hard enough for
Yeah.
people with families that aren't accepting. Then on top of that, if you're going against your religion, then it becomes even harder. So I mean, can only imagine how hard that would have
I
been.
was gonna say something on the similar lines. So, as sad and difficult it is for your friend, honestly, it is better out there, if I'm being very honest, and hopefully he'll have a better life elsewhere and in a place that is more accepting. To your previous question of the workplace, I was going to give an answer very similar to this. So, I've been in corporate and agency jobs. So, whatever I've faced there has been the same politics that happen in these places. So, it's not to do with my gender or my sexuality or anything like that. But working in beauty, I've met so many queer creators and trans creators, and I've heard their experiences, which is a lot like something you just said. So, a lot of the femme presenting gay people that I've met, the gay guys whom I met who are into beauty, wear makeup, the kind of stories they have, it's honestly horrifying. The stares they get from people, even if it's a cab you have booked on Uber or something, you get stares from the driver, things like that, just for wearing makeup or just for having nail extensions or wearing a skirt. Like it's so difficult, it's harder for them, and I do feel like it's harder for trans people, whatever gender
Yeah,
they
of
transition to. It's also harder for men who are more femme presenting, more than girls who are more mass presenting, because people just shrug that off being like tomboy,
Yeah,
because that's
There
like
has to be
Anjali
some
from Kuch Kuch
excuse,
Hota
but
Hai,
That's the thing.
tomboy.
Like, it's okay if you are
Yeah.
a tomboy,
Yeah.
like girl. You
Yeah.
just don't like to be looking very feminine.
But masculinity has to be like, set in stone, that macho type. And if you're not conforming to that, it's way harder. And even though these people are so good at what they do, but they have to hold back so much or live in fear, and it's just so sad and so unfair towards them. So I would say that is something I've heard of and seen more in this industry than anywhere else.
Yeah, we've heard some extremely disturbing
Yeah.
stories.
Yeah, me too. And it's just sad. It's sad. I wish everybody could just live how they want to.
Exactly.
Like, you
like,
do
why
you.
is it bothering you?
Yeah, you do you.
How is it
we
affecting
do
your
we.
life?
Whatever it is, like, I feel like gender, religion, politics, whatever it is, you have your belief, the other person has their belief, like everybody can coexist.
Yeah.
Like I don't have to say, no, you do what I think is right
Yeah.
and you tell me what I should do.
Yeah.
Like that's just my thing.
As long as like they are not enforcing anything on
Yeah.
you, you're not enforcing anything on them, and no one's harming
and
anyone.
nobody's
it's
harming
perfectly
anybody.
fine.
Like as
Exactly.
long as it's not creating a problem for us or for society, then you shouldn't interfere. Like whoever wants to follow whatever that they want to. But it doesn't work like that. Talking about like community, now that you guys are say publicly speaking about this, is there like a certain pressure that comes with like, I have to say the right thing, you're also representing a lot of people. Does that come with like pressure, especially at such a young age?
I mean, we're still learning. I think everyone is still learning. When it comes to ways you address people, things you say, what is the right way to say things, what are the things you can talk about, how you cannot go to someone straight up, ask them like, what is your gender, what is your sexual, you can't always do that, you know. So there is a way of going about things. We're still learning. We've made mistakes, we're rectifying them. As long as you're learning, like that's all that's important. That shows anything that shows progress in towards the right direction is all that matters, in my opinion.
Yeah, just being a little sensitive towards it so you don't hurt someone else, because like she said, we're still learning. Everyone's experience is so different. You can't possibly know everything. You'll only learn along the way. The more people that you're exposed to, the more people that you meet. So
It's so nice that you guys are saying this, because that takes the pressure off of me and anybody listening. But otherwise, I feel like, and we all feel like, no, we have to say the right thing because we don't want to offend people. For example, you know, even not just gender related, when somebody is like very skinny or where somebody is like overweight, you know how you casually like pass remarks about like their
Yeah.
looks or what is happening and things like that, and you don't even realize. So then we don't want to do something that like the other person feels bad about, and that is for everything. Like not
Yeah.
just gender, even about looks, appearances, what they do, how they do, where they come from. So like, you know, like I was just at some point like, where do you draw the line? Do you like it's like it's okay, you can pass it on, or is it something you be careful about and then think about it and then speak? Because I usually, like, for example, somebody tell me a problem earlier, I used to be like, you know, it's not such a big deal, like it's fine. Like I'll tell kids, for example, younger generation, that, you know, maybe you're putting too much pressure on yourself or you're stressing yourself out in a lot more way. Now there's a better way to say it, but I would be like guys, what is this is not a problem, like don't worry about it so much and all. But now I'm much more careful about the words that I am saying, because it could be very, like, something that is really small for me could be like a really big deal for somebody else, and I think it's a learning process.
but I think it's more about intention. Like, I think people think that those people in those situations, like a skinny person,
Yeah.
for example, that you said, are gonna jump at the opportunity to correct someone or get mad at someone. And so then that paints them in a bad light. When I don't think that's the case. I think it's the intention that you are putting out there. I mean, you have to correct people. That's all.
Yeah.
Not everyone is gonna say what you want to hear.
Yeah.
But if they're saying it with, you know, it's a
got
genuine mistake. Like, they're not saying it to put you down. I don't think that one would get offended as such.
But on the contrary, I agree that a lot of people need to think before they speak.
Yeah.
Because
Yes.
I've been facing this a lot. I've grown up having hormonal acne and I'm very sensitive about my skin, and my skin is also very sensitive. So my breakouts, or like how my skin is, it's very up and down. And then I've faced so many people just blatantly telling you to your face, like, on the days I don't go to work, when I go to work without makeup, on the days I go to work without makeup, I've had people, irrespective of their gender, come and be like, oh, you look tan today, you look sick today, you didn't sleep or what? Like, you know, things like that.
Yeah.
And it's such a parlor didi mentality, if I'm being very honest. Because when you go to these parlors, they will nitpick on something. Arey, aapke
Everything.
eyebrows itne lambe
they
ho
make
gaye.
you feel
They're trying
so
to sell their
bad.
stuff.
They're trying to sell their stuff.
They're just
but they-
doing their job.
but
I
they're
have
making
making
you
so many
insecure.
parlor aunties because they make me feel so bad.
Exactly.
आपकी eyebrows में cut है, आपका ये skin में ये problem है.
Exactly. आप
and,
ये peel कर लो, you
हाँ,
do this,
हाँ.
why don't you do
Just
this? You
to
don't drink
say-
water. What? You don't wash your face. Obviously. And the thing is, these people who make these remarks think that you don't know. That is the funniest part. Like if you're calling someone who is a larger size, if you're calling them fat or something like that, you think that they don't know, they've not seen themselves. So if you're saying, oh, you have so many pimples on your face,
you're
you think that
stating
you
the
have a mirror.
obvious, man.
Like, obviously they know
And,
that
these people always say it at the loudest decibel possible in front of a lot of people. They'd be like, "Arey, you have a pimple on your face." I know it. I have a mirror in my house. I know it. Why do you have to announce it and make everyone look at that one pimple, which I anyway feel that everyone is looking at when they're talking to me? So that is a very irritating thing, which I think a lot of people need to change. Like I've fought with my own family if they've made any remarks like this. Or even people at work or anything, I've like taunted them back or something. But like at the end of the day, it does stick on with you. And I feel like I faced a lot of it when I was younger. Like I said, being in a girls' school, girls sometimes can be each other's biggest enemies, especially when you're growing up together and spending all your time together and trying to one-up each other in a very competitive school also. So I think I faced a lot of that in school also, where girls would just pass remarks about each other's looks and things like that. So it's kind of like ingrained in you to feel a little insecure on some level about these things, especially when it's pointed out when you already know.
Tell me, what would be the ideal solution for this? For example, I understand if somebody's just making a remark for making fun of it is different, but what if somebody wants to talk about it? How should that be approached?
I think with empathy first and asking if they're okay to talk about it, because you don't get to decide if they want to talk about it, right? So to ask in a way that they also feel safe and comfortable, and they may not want to talk about it. So you just deal with the curiosity. You don't have to get your answers.
Yeah,
It's okay.
that's true.
Yeah. If they don't want to talk about it, let it be. It's not going
Right.
to affect your life. But if you're interested, if you're coming from a place of empathy, you want to know, you're actually interested in knowing their story. It's not just to answer questions that you have in your head, which are not going to do anything for you, but make them feel uncomfortable. You can let it go. Like,
Yeah.
there's
It's not
no
going
need
to change your life if
Yeah,
you don't know.
You don't need to know everything about someone.
Also, there's this theory, it's called the 5-minute theory. Do not point out something about someone's appearance or something that they have on them if it cannot be changed in 5 minutes. Like, for example, if there's something in my teeth, please come and tell me, because it can be fixed in 5 minutes. If my like eyeliner is smudging, come and tell me, it can be fixed in 5 minutes. But if you are coming and telling me that I have a pimple or if I've gained weight, it can't be fixed in 5 minutes. So why point that out? Like things that can be fixed in 5 minutes, it's a rule. I personally stand by this rule only if I'm really close to someone, and if you're meeting someone after really long and you're feeling like their skin has changed a lot or something, and you're close enough to make that person feel comfortable to talk to you, only then go ahead and say it, or give advice from a place of understanding. If I've had like clear skin my entire life, I won't go to someone with acne and be like, oh, you should drink water, because I drink a lot of water, because that everyone knows anyway, So like, but if I have acne and seeing someone else have that problem, I'll be like, dude, my dermat helped me out. I can send you her number. This cream helped me out. You should try it out. So come from a place of having some knowledge that goes beyond the stuff that is anywhere like understood.
And not pointing and being like, oh, like you're meeting me after very long and I've noticed that
Yeah,
you put
not
on
that.
weight. Or
Yeah,
that
that's
you've
not
got
good. You're
acne.
right. Both of your answers I love, because you go with intention. Like, what is your purpose of asking that or saying that thing? And then I love this 5-minute thing. I'm going to
Yeah, I
practice
didn't know
the
about
same
this.
thing.
Thank you.
That's
I
a
will
great
use that.
hack to know if you should talk about something to
Yeah.
somebody or just let it be because it can't be changed in 5 minutes. Love it.
Yeah.
I'm going to practice it. What is the biggest stereotype that you have faced as a same
think-
gender couple?
I would say for me individually would be the way that I dress. I get a lot of like comments or remarks about the fact that I'm not like a girly girl and that I don't, for example, like there's a big difference in the way that we dress, right? And literally recently someone commented on a reel of ours in which we said that one of the questions we get asked a lot is who's the man in the relationship. And then she comes in and she's like, the point is that we don't want a man. And so someone had commented, and I remember this, under it being like, they're saying that there's no man in the relationship, but one of them is dressing like a man. And someone replied to that being like in the olden days, like centuries ago, men were wearing skirts. So does that mean that then that is what like, you know what I mean? That basically fashion is genderless.
Exactly.
So
Yeah.
that is a stereotype for sure. But no one has ever told me otherwise, like that I should not dress like that. But yeah, people definitely have things to say and that don't really make sense.
Yeah.
And yeah,
I think
mean,
fashion is something, it's very personal. Whoever wants to wear whatever and whatever they think makes them feel comfortable, because
Yeah.
you're doing it for yourself, not so much for the outside world.
someone literally said, "Oh, but she's wearing a cap."
Hmm.
Means if I wear a cap, means I'm a man. Like
Girls
what?
also wear caps.
It does not make any sense.
So I feel like there's no winning here because for me, I'm being told that I don't look gay enough. No matter what I wear, even if I'm wearing like wearing her clothes, I don't look gay enough. But for her, she looks like a man. So there's no winning.
Yeah,
Whether you are mask presenting or femme presenting, there's no winning. So just do what you want to do.
Yeah, seriously. And one more stereotype, like we have a whole list. We're going to
Yeah.
be making a reel on it. But I think people think that, oh, women are so sensitive and so there would be so much drama between us because one or the other would always be crying, or we're both probably always crying together. Like, how does that even make sense? Firstly, every guy that I've dated has been more sensitive than me. So I'm like, I don't think it has anything to do with sensitivity. And in fact, I feel like we understand each other's emotions more. So in fact, we wouldn't be crying all the time because we'd understand what the other is even going through. Whereas, like she said, for a man to understand a woman's brain and a woman to understand a man's brain, it's hard to sort of fully understand each other. Like we just read each other's minds at this point. So
Wow.
it's in fact easier and less sensitive when it comes to our relationship.
Tell me, like now, like some personal stuff, okay? What do you guys like fight about?
We bicker a lot, I would say,
A
like an
lot.
old married couple. Like
About what are the things that you guys disagree on?
I think we are very similar in terms of what we want to do, what we like, this and that. But most of our bickering is how to go about things. So if we want, like I said, we take 1 month to do one reel because we're going back and forth on the points. Or we are like, when it comes to planning a day or going somewhere, then like someone or the other has to be inconvenienced. We're like arguing, oh, no, this has to be done, like that has to be. So like we have a lot of these like daily small issues that we do bicker a lot on.
that, I would say, is our main. We don't have like one main.
Is there something you guys disagree on or like fight about and stuff?
Yeah, I mean, it's not been a smooth, free-flowing
Yeah, of
relationship.
course, it's not perfect,
Yeah, it's
but-
not been perfect. We've had our ups and downs. We've had to learn a lot. Like I said, we were 20 when we started dating, and now I'm having my quarter life crisis. I'm 25 now. So it's obviously been a lot of learning and unlearning. Unlearning a lot of the patterns you've learned from relationships around you in your past relationships and trauma from your past coming into the way of the relationship. So a lot of learning and unlearning, which has caused a lot of fights, but obviously we've like learned how to understand each other better and be there for each other better. And that doesn't mean we'll never fight again. We will.
Yeah.
Obviously, every couple does, but we just learned to communicate better and understand each other better.
What is something you had to unlearn in this relationship?
I had never been in a long-term relationship. So for me, like knowing compromise and stuff like that, I was very like set in my own ways. This is how I go about my life. I don't like to plan things beforehand. I'm just go with the flow, spontaneous, that kind of stuff. And not that I had to unlearn that, but I also realize now there's someone who's like schedule and routine I need to also take into consideration. For example, I work on my own time. She has a 9 to 5, right? So sort of for us to make space for each other in the relationship also is something I had to learn. I didn't really have to unlearn anything because I hadn't been in like a long-term relationship, but there was a lot I had to learn through the relationship. And like she said, we were so young. So much has changed over the years. And I feel like our issues are more individual than together because we're growing right now. So things clash and stuff like that. But in like as a couple, I feel like we don't have anything stopping us. It's more like she said, trauma from the past or like new things that come up because there's always something or the other. But yeah, I feel like it's been more of a learning for me than something I had to unlearn through the way.
Okay.
For me, I think it was just having faith, having trust, because I've not seen healthy relationships around me. And this is not some secret. My parents were divorced when I was 2. So I don't even remember being in a stereotypical family because I was brought up by my maternal grandparents and my mother. And my dad had weekend custody, so I'd see him on the weekends and all. So I did not have the conventional family set up growing up and not seen a very healthy, loving relationship that works through issues and makes it long term until I started dating her. So just having faith that you're not going to end up like your parents, having faith that like you can have your own relationship and your own way of doing things and does not have to, that you don't have to live in that fear that everything's going to end because I've grown up with that trauma of something ending when I was really young.
But you were so young at that point, you wouldn't have understood anything. So it must have been like when you're growing up, you were told these things by other people, and a lot of conditioning must have happened growing up, right? From the outside world.
A lot. Like, this in itself could be a podcast of its own because like I said, it was when I was 2 years old. So the world was not as progressed as it is today. And when you're so young, the people around you, like in school and all, are as young and as like clueless as you are. So for me, no, this unconventional family setup was always my normal, because when you're younger than 2, you don't remember life before that. So after that, it was always my normal. And I think it just hit me when in school kids would ask me, how come you don't live with your father, and like how come, like even later people like, how come your mom and you have different surnames, things like that. Even when it comes to the government paperwork, like my mom and I get questioned a lot because of different surnames, things like that. So it has been hard in terms of society, and that these things made me realize that, oh, my situation is not normal. Otherwise it was always my normal. And then when you realize what is normal for other people, you're like, oh, I am not normal. So it took a lot of like learning, unlearning again at that age. And I had like major anger issues as a child. I used to get into physical fights and all as a kid. Like once my school even called one police officer to scare me to behave. And yeah, this has happened. So
Why do you think you were rebelling so much?
because of this being questioned, which made me realize that my situation is not normal. This was all till the age of 6. After 6, I was
kids are
fine.
ruthless.
Yeah.
Obviously, they don't know better.
Yeah.
And they obviously just say what comes to mind. And
Yeah, so you go to school at the age of 4. So from 4 to like 6, 7 is when I was getting these questions. Oh, how come this, how come that? And then because I didn't have an answer, I didn't have an explanation, for me it was like violence or being mean to another person. That was my way of getting away with it. So that is, yeah. But then you have to learn a lot. And even though my situation was not ideal, I feel like it was ideal for me and ideal for my family. And I'm glad it happened because my parents have flourished after it. They've flourished financially, and I respect them a lot in how far they've come, because financially and all, they weren't that well off when I was born, when I was younger. And then now they've both grown really well in their own careers. They're giving me amazing career advice and stuff. So my life would not have been what it is. And also, if my parents hadn't gotten divorced, I would have grown up in Navi Mumbai. I cannot imagine myself being from Navi Mumbai and not South Bombay. So I feel like that would have completely changed my career trajectory. I don't think she would have even looked at me a second time if she knew where I was
I
from.
think I would.
Yeah, even I think she would have.
Yeah, so I think that just
what
worked
made
out.
you switch and change your mindset after all of this to come to, oh, I can have a healthy relationship?
Because I've not seen it. When you don't have something, you want it more. So I think that's the explanation for it.
Okay. Because I would be like, you have to go unlearn the trauma, unlearn the situation, and then think of it like it can be possible and positive for you, and then enter the relationship. But otherwise, it's happened with you where you've entered and experienced the change.
No, I think this is why I was skeptical into getting into something serious with her, because I knew that if I do, that is going to, if it does not go well, it's going to be the worst heartbreak of my life. And I knew that, and I did not want that. So like the fear was always there when it came to this commitment. So yeah, like you said, it did stop me, but luckily things
You
panned
gave
out
it
the
a
way.
chance.
Yeah.
And we're here. What about previous relationships have you had to like drop and come into this one?
I had to unlearn my flight mode, which again comes from my previous trauma and stuff. Like I mentioned earlier, I'd run the first ick that I got, I was like out. And I can't look back. Like, I
Huh.
can't look past it. And I mean, I didn't get any icks from her for me to even run. But when it comes to things getting hard, you know, just sort of giving up and being like, I don't want to deal with this, is something that I had to learn with time, and she has had to go through, unfortunately. She's more fight mode, I'm more flight mode.
Okay.
So we've struggled with that, but now we're at a point where I've worked on it, and now I've taken that call that no matter how hard things get, I will fight for it, and I will be there and compromise and, you know, give it
Yeah,
my all. So
okay, got
it
it.
took time
Got it.
until very recently, actually.
So basically, you're like, if something's not working, you might as well
Yeah.
leave it, move on to the next
Yeah.
or whatever, do
Yeah.
something. But relationships are such that you have to, it's not going to be perfect, you have to sit and work on it.
Yeah.
And you have to deal with that. And that dealing is actually very uncomfortable.
It
Like,
is.
you'd really want to avoid it.
Yeah.
Like, I don't want to deal with it. I'm also like, I'm not very confrontational, not very
Not
like
at all.
going too deep into things and all. And we just move on, find the next solution, next
Yeah.
best solution.
Yeah.
And then you're like, no, you cannot deal with that because that's just pushing things under the carpet and that doesn't work.
Yeah,
Yeah,
we
like-
were like that, but now we're so heavy on resolution. Like anything
Yeah.
happens, you want to resolve it immediately, even if it leads to the biggest fight, but resolve it, resolve it.
Tell me one thing. As individuals, you said you've grown a lot because of the relationship also being so so nice over the years. What is something that you've grown in individually but you've taken from the relationship?
I would say, for example, when we first met, I was a completely different person. Like, I do not even recognize myself. I understand why she took so long to be, you know, open to like being in a relationship. I was going through a lot of stuff. So I lost my dad when I was 14. And I went through like a phase where I was sort of like resulting into coping through substances and stuff. So for around 4 years of my life, that was my coping mechanism, and obviously that completely changed the way that I was as a person. And when I met her, I was still that person, but I was in a zone where I wanted to get out of it, and I was not happy with the way that I was, and I was very self-aware, but I was not in the state to change that. And around like 4 months before we took our trip to Goa is when I finally got sober and I was completely clean. And that she had a big role to play in that. Like, we weren't even like she knew I liked her. She hadn't even told me she liked me yet, but she was there for me. I too felt like we were dating from then only. And I think with time, her seeing the change in me after I got sober, and even my family was like, it's so good to have you back, because I was a completely different person now. Whenever I joke around and give her shit for not, you know, liking me back like as fast as I liked her, I totally see it, because I was a very different person, and I'm glad that's not what she settled for. And then when we took the trip and I got on medication and stuff, because I went through like depression and anxiety and stuff, and she was so supportive. And I feel like from her I've learned a lot of thoughtfulness. Like, she'll do everything to be there for you. Whether it's, for example, every month, I got sober on 6th of Jan 4 years ago. Every month on the 6th, she will celebrate the fact that I've been 1 more month sober.
Almost 5 years now.
How
Yeah.
sweet.
So it's these little things that I've learned from her that have also helped in the way I am with other people. I feel like also because I wasn't myself for those 4 years, I didn't give a shit about anything. I didn't care, you know, because obviously I wasn't in my senses as well. And now, and I was very like, she also thought that I was intimidating and I was not very approachable and stuff. And I think over the years I've like changed that so much. Like, literally anyone and everyone comes up and talks to me, and I'm so happy to even talk back with them. And so I felt such a shift in myself, and the fact that I found myself again while being with her. Like, you know, people usually have to find themselves and then they'll get into a relationship and stuff. But I found myself and more like while being in our relationship, and she has like a huge role to play in all of that.
In the initial days, what had she done that made you switch and say that I want to be sober now?
She was anyway on the path of it earlier, but she was just going back and forth a lot. And for me, I liked her as a person, but I just feel like after she got clean is when I felt I could see her pink of health coming back. You can tell in someone's appearance when they're looking healthier. I could see that coming back. I could see her being smarter, more empathetic. Because, like she said, she didn't give a shit about anything. So you're a little not very empathetic at that point when you're under the influence of something. So she became a lot more empathetic, a lot smarter, aware, and excited to do things. So that is what just made me see a whole different side of her. But before me, I feel like she was trying her best, but it was not like in the strongest way that would be like life changing. And then that it happened once and for all, and that's what gave me, and only after she was clean for 4 months, it gave me that thing that okay, she has done it for 4 months, and I feel like she can do it. She's happy doing it now. She's not thought of it even once. So that is what made me feel like okay, now I can trust that I can get into a serious relationship with her.
And seeing the fact that then after I got clean is when she saw a future with me, I was like, I totally get that, because why would anyone want a future with someone like that? And our lifestyles were so different. I mean, I surrounded myself with those kind of people, and I feel like it's really hard, especially in the profession that I'm in, to find people that don't have a vice that is their whole lifestyle. And with her, she doesn't have that, and that made such a big difference for me, in the sense that I was like, I want to be like her, I want to have that lifestyle. And I saw that with her, and I was like, I want that, and like being with her will give me that as well. And so that also helped a lot, I feel.
I think we both saw something in each other which we lacked. So, like she's saying, she saw this in me. For me, I felt like even though she was into all of this, and it's expected because I sorry for stereotyping, but since she's in the entertainment industry, a DJ, so it was like, a little expected. I was like, okay, makes sense, even though I'm not fully on board, but I get it. But later, like, I feel like even though that was a part of her, still, she was still such a good person. She's also so figured out. Like, she knew what she wanted to do. She knew her likes and dislikes. She knew exactly what kind of music she wanted to listen to based on her mood, based on the place we are at, what she wanted to play. She was just very self-aware, very good with her identity. And like I said earlier, I was having a new identity every year. I was trying to figure myself out constantly, and this was even more because I was just graduating. I didn't know what to do with my life, and there's this person who's been working since she was 16 and has everything figured out and knows what she wants to do, is already working. And I was like, oh my god, I want to learn this. I want to be as like self-aware and sorted as you are in terms of at least your profession. So yeah, we both had a lot to learn from each other at such a young age.
Yeah.
How did you grow personally from this relationship?
I think just learning trust and faith, like I said earlier, just knowing that not everything's gonna end up the way you have seen things end up with other people or you with other people. So that, and she has always made me like just feel like I can see a brighter side of things. And yeah, I think that's mainly what it's been.
Also, I just randomly remembered something because we were talking about my sobriety and how she's helped me. So I actually wrote a book when I was 19
Oh,
about
wow.
my journey and stuff. And we had
Just
not even
matched.
met. We had not
Just
even
matched
met each
Okay.
other. And I sent her a draft of a rough draft of the book and everything before it was like, not rough actually, it was the final draft, but before it got published. And she gave me like 1 or 2 lines to add to the book. Like she didn't even say like add this in. She just was like, oh, this is like a funny line. And I actually put it in my book, and she was like, that's quite a risky move, because what if we don't work out? Like you're just gonna have my line in your book, and it's just gonna be like live
Yeah,
on
what if we
forever.
never met? We just always be strangers, and one stranger's line is sitting in your
In your
book
book.
forever.
Yeah, so that was pretty cool. That's also something I liked about her, because it was a very witty line, that like 2 lines that she gave me. And I was like, okay, I like the way she thinks. She's really smart. And I was not at the time. So I was like, I have a lot. Like, she teaches me a lot.
Okay.
She tests my memory, because I lost it for those 4 years, and that obviously had an impact on me. And so she'll always like test my memory, teach me new things, and all of these things. Like my sobriety journey wouldn't be the same if it wasn't for her.
How special. I feel like that's what keeps you guys together, because when you go through something with somebody, then you just appreciate that person and know what it's like to be with that person. And then you never want to leave the people who've been with you in the time that
Exactly.
you've grown. Like you
Yeah.
said, to grow together is like very special. Like
Yeah.
in my life also, if anybody's been with me in my bad times, I hold on
Yeah.
to them.
Yeah.
And how? Because when you're high up there and you're getting everything and everything's working out well, everybody will be there.
Yeah.
But it's those people who you know that in the bad time were there for you are your real people, and that's who you should stick around with.
Yeah, coming back to the book that she just mentioned. So this was her side of it where she sent me and I sent these lines and all. But my side of that story is that I don't even know this person. She sent me this draft of this book that she's
I
not
wanted to
released.
impress her.
She was love bomber to the max, and controversial opinions, but love bombers can be good, you know, sometimes, like as long as you're not crazy. Like she wasn't a crazy person, so that worked out
I
in
was
the way
just
that she
very
was in love.
vocal about how I felt.
And she was
Yeah,
like
how
very
nice.
like, yeah, like she did all these like acts of like affection. I wouldn't say acts of service, but more acts of affection, just making you feel important even though I'm nobody in your life yet, and giving me this book thing, adding these lines in the book and all, and I was like very impressed. So definitely that worked really well. So love bombing can be a good thing if the person is not a crazy one.
How nice. I think towards the end, I want to ask you about like the future. Considering that India doesn't have it legalized yet to have same sex and same gender marriages, how does this relationship evolve for you guys to do things and do life together?
I think at this point, our families are very on board with us doing life together, whatever way we decide to do it, marriage being legalized or not, having a wedding or not. I think our families are very set on this being each other's future. So, that luckily is one thing that is figured out. Obviously, we do want to grow together and continue to support each other the way we do. Hopefully, marriage does get legalized in this country. If there are any like petitions or protests or something, we'd be happy to be a part of it because we do want that to happen for us and a lot of people in this country. So that is something we are looking forward to and hoping that it does happen. But right now we're still 25, we're still trying to get ourselves, our careers in order, and obviously working on having a healthy relationship. But I think if the marriage part does not get legalized, the saddest part for me would be that I don't get all her club memberships, which all the straight hetero couples get when they get married. So what is the point of getting married? No, but I'd love to for the ring. on
But
the finger.
and neither of us want to change our surnames. So
We are
I
not
feel
changing
like,
our surnames.
Yeah, so it doesn't really, like, what is it? It's just a piece of paper, right? Like
Okay.
we can get married somewhere else. We just want to have a big celebration
That
with
you
all the
can have
people that we
anyways,
love.
right?
Exactly.
That
So
you
it
can
doesn't
have
really matter.
anyways.
And we actually have already decided that we want my brother to officially, like, we're not gonna
Yeah.
do a fairas and stuff. So we want, my brother's autistic and they're very close. He like loves her. And we've already decided he's gonna officiate our wedding. And also it's more than like a legal marriage. We just want it to be special and like we'll do it our way. Like it's
Yeah.
okay if it's
Yeah.
not the typical, you know, hetero wedding and stuff. Like it's okay that we can't get that. I mean, it sucks. Obviously, it would be cool if she'd get my memberships and all, but it's okay. I mean,
It was
I have
just a
nothing to
running
lose because I'm not getting memberships. So it's
I have
fine. In terms of adopting a child, if we were to want a child, then we would adopt. But right now, we're both luckily
Very
in
young.
the same. No, even for the future, like we're in the same sort of. We have the same thought process. Like we're on the same page about not having a child. We have our own plans for our future that do not include a child.
Nice.
I have such a big family. Everyone's having kids right now. I'm surrounded by them. I get only the good stuff. I'm happy with that. She's also close to them. Great. We have children around us. We don't need to waste our money on raising a child.
And
Lovely.
we've both been quite bratty growing up. I'm an only child. She's the youngest of 4 siblings. So we know how much we've spent our family money, and I don't want someone else to spend my money. So for now, this child thing is not a part of the plan because I feel like we've been on the same page of wanting to grow financially, see the world, have fun in in life, just live the fullest life. So that's the plan for now. But obviously, if our minds change, then adoption would be the way to go. And another thing, I feel like we're very good at finding a balance. Even though we're very, very similar in a lot of things, our lives and our way of doing things are very different. So for example, right now her career is something that is like it's a freelancing thing, and there are some months that perform better than the others. But for me, I work a 9 to 5, so I'm getting that salary every month. So she may be making more periodically in the better months, and I'm the one with the stable income who's making the same amount every month. So if there's a month where she does not have too much happening, then I fill in. So like we found a good balance there. So I feel like we'll continue to finding these balances to support each other. And like she said, that since I work a 9 to 5 and she works mostly at night because she's very creative at nights, then finding a balance there. So sometimes she works around my timings because I cannot change my timings while she can change hers. So yeah, so it's like a lot of compromise, but
But we'll adopt animals. Yeah, I have a lot of animals.
How nice, how lovely. It's nice that you guys have clarity on what you want, at least in the near future, and then of course things keep changing. If there is some advice that you would like to give to people in general who are not from your community, what would that be? Like, what is it that you really want to tell the world about you guys and about the community?
First things first, it is real. It's not a phase. It's not a trend. It's not just for social media. It's very real. And not just us, like any other same gender, queer couple, anything. It's not, people are not just doing it for attention. It is very real. Take their word for it. Even if they are lying, like fine, just take their word for it and be supportive. At the end of the day, irrespective of your sexuality or your gender, we're all human beings. So just let's treat each other like that. No one is doing things to be made fun of except people who are doing silly things on social media and are expecting the kind of jokes people make on them. But other than that, no one is being a certain way to be made fun of. So like we discussed earlier, think before you speak, think before you comment. And yeah, just be more accepting. Even if you don't fully understand it, you can still accept it.
Yeah, and I mean, if it doesn't affect your life, you're no one to sort of put someone else down for just doing what they want to do, right? So yeah, just think before you speak. Be a little more sensitive and look at it from the other person's perspective. Everyone's going through something that you don't know about.
Right. And I think that's such a small, like, shouldn't have to be said kind of a thing.
It's like understood.
It should be understood that you should be nice to people and sensitive to other people and their choices. So what you're asking for, what you're saying is
minimum.
really like, bare minimum to me. I'm like, you guys should know that.
Yeah.
And all the creeps, keep your opinions to yourself. Otherwise, I'll send my girlfriend to punch you.
I'm so happy that I got to speak to you guys. I hope you guys had fun.
Thank you
so
much for having us.
And I was like sensitive enough and understanding enough, and
100%
I didn't say
great,
anything
Dawn.
wrong. But I'm very happy to be amongst the first people to tell your story.
Yeah, you are actually.
I'm very happy that I'm doing this on this platform. So thank you so much for coming to the show.
Thank you so much. Thank you
Thanks
for
for
giving
having
us the platform.
And I think that you guys have spoken your heart out. You said a lot of
100%.
things that maybe you didn't plan to say,
Yeah.
but I could tell. So thank you so much for sharing everything with me.
Thanks
Thank
for
you.
having us.
Thank you guys so much for watching another episode. If you have any thoughts, please leave them in the comments below. I will see you in the next episode. Don't forget to subscribe.